They were the beginning of the movement. They were the beginning of bringing this super powerful education, not just to their kids, but to Chicago and to the world. Now we're looking at this model with the Acton Affiliate Network. We'll have 250 locations around the world this fall. And, when we started, I think we were location number 3. So it's been an amazing run. It's an exciting thing to be part of. And I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. Throw out homework, worksheets, ominous buildings, hall passes, herds of students, grades, all of it. What would you build? If you start with the amazing thing that is a young person, how would you honor all of their strengths and abilities? How would you remember that this is about them? If Dewey was right, and education is not preparation for life, education is life itself, we need to do more than rebuild schooling. We need to rethink living. Welcome to the Education is Life podcast, where we are having honest discussions on the state of education, where it is, where it can be, and all of the stories in between. I had been working in higher education lately. I was running a group of regionally accredited colleges and ended up in a situation where I had a 1-year non-compete agreement. And so I went home and we're like, hey guys, we got some time. What do you want to do? So we took the whole family down to Central America for 6 months. And that was our introduction to homeschooling. And so the school, our neighborhood school that, we moved to this neighborhood for, so that everybody says was such a great school, the best of Chicago public schools. They were giving us lesson plans, what they're going to be covering, because they knew we were just going to be gone for a couple months, come back at the end of the summer, and just how do we keep our kids up and ready to be able to go. So everyone was really accommodating, and we went down to Central America. There's a wide range in homeschooling that I found out later. There's the school at home, which is basically what we were doing. Like, how can we simulate what they would be doing at traditional school and just make it happen at home, to unschooling. And even in unschooling, there's a wide range. Let it more student-led, follow their interests, and bring the disciplines and skills in after them. But we were doing the school at home, so we'd spend 2 hours in the morning doing the drill and kill and pound them until they just couldn't take it anymore. And so we started bribing them with hey, we get to go to the pool afterwards, or whatever it takes, right? So we were going through all this, but while we were down there, we were meeting a number of unschooled families, or just other homeschooled families. And to see kind of how mature they were and how well they integrated with their communities, how well they interacted with adults, and how the sense of they knew who they were and what they were after was just it was really eye-opening. And then realized, like, they're only spending 1.5 hours to 2 hours a day. I'm like, wow, that's great. So we started cutting that back on stuff. Actually ended up taking an early summer break that year. We realized all the things we were doing and capable of doing in Central America. There are so many learning opportunities outside of what we would call a classroom that we should be taking advantage of those, because this could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us. So we came back at the end of summer, just in time for the teacher strike. So that was great. Got the kids back into school. And I went off looking for, how can I start a college alternative program? At the time, I was dealing with a lot of first-generation college students who the value proposition wasn't great. Come and spend tens of thousands of dollars to get a relatively entry-level job. There's got to be a faster way to work with that market. So I started to deep dive into self-directed learning. It was when MOOCs were first coming out, massive open online courses, MIT and Harvard getting their stuff up online for free. Some digital educational technology was starting to come out that was somewhat powerful. And so if you knew where you wanted to go, there was some great ways to be able to get there. And I came up with a program that I thought was going to work. And I went out and talked to students at, really nice private schools who were juniors and seniors, and they didn't have any idea what they wanted to do. And if they did, they didn't have the real world skills to be able to get them there. And so that was frustrating for me. And at the same time, I start to look at my kids who have now been back into the public school system for, a couple months at that point, 3-4 months. And to see kind of like when we had first come back, they were almost standing taller than their peers. Their level of maturity had grown so much in that 6 months, their desire to take on responsibility and to really be in charge of their lives was just put them in such odds with their peer groups. So if you like what you're hearing, or you don't, and you want to come on and talk about it, go ahead and visit greenfieldsacademy.com and let us know that you want to be on the podcast and you want your opinion to be heard. I'd love to hear from you. But that started to go away, and like, the proverbial, the twinkle in their eye, their joy of learning started to kind of fade. And it was at that point where I'm like, you know what? I've avoided doing K-12 my whole life because I thought it was too broken to fix from the inside out. So I thought, here we go. Let's figure this thing out. Let's bring a new model to bear. So I started looking around for people who were utilizing a bunch of stuff that I learned, right? All the advances in cognitive science, understanding how people learn, the self-directed movement, that amount of agency, that people making decisions in their own life, in their own education about what they're going to do, how important that is to create a deeper learning experience, what it does to help build their internal compass and their values of who they are and what matters to them. And the idea, like, if you really want to know something, if it's something that really needs to be known, let's get it to a mastery level. Let's not worry about grades. Let's figure, hey, if you need to know this, let's get the equivalent of an A, right? Let's go ahead and get that 90, 95, 100% knowledge base on it, so that you have that skill going forward, that you didn't just kind of limp through it and moved on, and focus on the skills that are going to help them in life, and not just how to be a good student, but how to be a good person. What are the skills you're going to need in terms of problem solving, resiliency, conflict resolution, self-regulation, your executive functioning skill set, and build those into a program. And so I went around looking. I found, and I want to keep it affordable, right? So I found some small schools that were doing amazing things, but they were charging $40,000, $45,000 a year, and I didn't want to do that. Found a couple schools who were doing amazing things, but they felt they were terminally unique in the sense that there was no way you could take their community and replicate it somewhere else. They had a special sauce. They caught a lightning in a bottle, and they didn't think you could do it anywhere else. So at that time I was like, all right, I'll just have to build my own curriculum. Here we go. So I started talking to some other people who were starting schools, and one of them says, hey, have you ever heard about this school down in Texas called Acton Academy? And I was like, no, I haven't. And he's like, you should check them out. What you're talking about sounds a lot like what they're doing. So I get home, get online, look on the web, and holy cow, they're doing like 85, 90% of what I want to do. So I get in touch with them, fly down there, meet with Laura and Jeff Sandifer, who started it. We got to a point where they're like, hey, go for it, make this happen in Chicago. And they gave us their resources, their tools, and their experience to be able to get it going. So I came back, and we found 15 pioneering young people who were ready to make their lives happen in this new and exciting way, and parents who were behind them and saying, hey, we believe there's a better way, and we want to be part of making that happen. And they were the beginning of the movement. They were the beginning of bringing this super powerful education, not just to their kids, but to Chicago and to the world. Now we're looking at this model with the Acton Affiliate Network. We'll have 250 locations around the world this fall. And, when we started, I think we were location number 3. So it's been an amazing run. It's an exciting thing to be part of. And I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe and tune in next time for a fresh new episode of Education is Life.